everybody, welcome to Too Much Information Live with Moondog, TMI Live. And today we're going to be joined by my guest Gary later on in the show. We're going to talk about genealogy. But before we get started, let's start with our plugs of our sponsors. And our long-standing sponsor, Aura.com, they're a cybersecurity company that I use to help protect me online. And, you know, there's so many more risks out there, especially with deepfakes and just actually we'll get into AI in a second, but I've just started been getting phishing emails that look so much and sound so much more legit nowadays. I almost opened a file from a company that wanted me to sign something from DocuSign for an agreement about promoting a video game on my gadget channel, and you know they offered to let me get early access to this video game. I just had to sign a NDA, which is pretty standard stuff. That's a non-disclosure agreement. But when I got it, it wouldn't open my Adobe Acrobat, which I usually use signed documents, Adobe Acrobat, and I was like, what's going on here? And then I looked a little more closely to the email, and it was, wait, this isn't coming from the game company, or at least the last letters of the game company, telltalegames.com. It wasn't telltale.com, it was telltale.inc. I'm like, what? I missed that. And yeah, so obviously it was a phishing attempt. I almost got suckered in on it if I hadn't have caught those little things. But these are the things that are happening now. And it just makes sense to have as much protection online as you can. Well, Aura offers a plethora of services, including credit monitoring, spam blockers, fraud alerts. They offer $1 million in identity theft insurance, and they offer VPN, which is a virtual private network, which is also very useful if you're on public Wi-Fi anywhere to protect you. They also get you off of data broker lists, which is how you get on these spam lists in the first place. Well, all these companies are buying and selling our information, our personal information online, and well, you can get them yourself off of these lists, but it's a tedious process. There's hundreds of these companies out there, these data broker companies. So what you can do is Aura, if you just sign up for Aura, they will send out requests to all of these companies on your behalf and get you off their list. I got myself off of over 30 data brokers, but the thing is, you have to regularly request to have your information removed, because those data broker companies buy and sell from each other. So eventually they can request to have your information again, especially if it's public information, like if you have a business or anything like that. Anyway, try Aura for free. Use my link, aura.com/moondog. There's a QR code right there. Try them out. You can try them out for 14 days free. And you can even make use of that data broker removal service during that free trial. So that's great. And our other sponsors, as I was mentioning about AI, artificial intelligence. Well, I just started using Venice.ai, and there's, everybody knows ChatGPT. They were the first ones, really the practical AI chatbots on the market. But there's probably a half dozen to a dozen of those services available to you now, including those being rolled out by Google and Apple and Microsoft. Well, here's the thing. No, all of those, what's one thing that they all have in common, except for Venice, is that all of that information that you give to the AI, and that is by typing prompts up to ask it to do things, or uploading a description of what you want it to write for you, or a first draft of something to have it help you edit something, which I use it for to help me go through my first draft of my articles, and also to do research. Well, if you use any of these AI services like ChatGPT, they store all of your prompts, all of your requests on their servers. And they also store all the responses that the AI chatbot gave to you. And that includes all your image requests. Everything you've asked is, show me President Trump on a donkey or whatever, or show me Lindsay Lohan dressed as a bunny, whatever. All of those responses that it serves over to you, they also store that and remember all of everything that you've asked it and everything that it's shown to you. And they remember it forever. They store all that information forever, which is potentially creepy and also potentially embarrassing. Who knows what these companies might do with that information later on. Except for Venice. Venice not only encrypts the communications between you and Venice, but all of your search queries, all of your communications aren't stored on their servers. They're stored on your browser and stored in your and you can delete that, which you can't do. You can't ask ChatGPT to delete it off their servers. No, I'm sorry, but this is with the benefit of using Venice.ai. So try out my link there, venice.ai/Moondog, and if you like it, you can get 20% off a full service account through them. So use my code Moondog and you can get 20% off. So, and I'd like to thank everybody so far who's joined up early here. We got 1957 Porsche Speedster. We have Abigail. We have J Delta. We have Tim Mooney, and we have Vadim. So thanks everybody for joining early. And of course, for everybody who tuned in early, and for everybody who's listening and watching and not necessarily chatting on the... but if you are there, chat. Please post up a chat. But if you're just watching and lurking, that's perfectly fine too. But for those of you who are tuning in early, well, you get an early clue. And I like to give away stuff in every episode. And in this episode, I'm giving away 3 of these. These are ZKT gun cleaning wipes. Well, you could probably clean other things with them, but they are specifically designed to clean, lubricate, and protect your gun parts. And you can completely clean an entire rifle after a range visit with just one of these wipes. So I'm giving away 3 of these, 3 different winners today. And all you have to do is type in a hash in the side chat, in the chat, type in hashtag and the name of this company. And here is their logo. And here's another clue for those of you who are on early. That logo is for a cable company, a cable channel. So there's your clue. And for everybody who tuned in early, there you go. And for anybody who's just listening, it's a big golden H. So hopefully that's helpful for you. So type in your answer, and you'll be automatically entered into the giveaway. So, all right. So let's get on to our new videos for this week that I posted up on my various channels. And the first one that I want to share with you and talk about. Oh, and sorry, big pause here. For those of you who are typing in what I'm looking for is just the first word. You don't have to put in channel, but that's perfectly fine. I think that if you include that, but just make the first word is the word that starts with an H is what the giveaway software is looking for. All right. So on my Moondog 2A channel, I posted up 2 videos. One is for the Atimony 22, which is that I posted a booth video, a SHOT Show with. But this is the one I want to share with you specifically. It is the review of the new CV Life Bear Swift. And I don't know, is it just me, or I just find their names to be a little awkward. It really does sound like they named their stuff, their scopes, using Google Translate, because it doesn't really roll off the tongue. Bear Swift is the name of this LPVO. The name aside, it is a really good budget LPVO. They're really stepping up. I've owned CV Life is one of the first scopes I ever bought because I'll be honest, they were cheap. I got a $24 at the time, I think it was like $24 or $28 24 power scope because I didn't know any better. I just figured 24 power sounds better than a 20 power. So I got that scope and I didn't want to spend more than $30. But that scope did quite well. It held 0 and I didn't have any problems with it for a good 2 years before I upgraded to a better scope. But that scope was really good by CV Life, so I can't complain. But I've always known them as being budget scopes, but they've really stepped up in terms of the feature sets that they're offering and the optics and other products that they're coming out. So they're worth taking a look at. And this scope, this LPVO in particular, is a 1 to 10 power, a first focal plane scope, by the way. And the glass quality is actually pretty good. And the reticle is actually, I think it's a bit of a knockoff of the Vortex Razor reticle, but you can't go wrong if you're going to copy a top LPVO company. So if if they're going to copy anybody's reticle, well, that's not a bad reticle to copy. Anyway, so here, let me share you a little short from that video. This is the CV Life Bear Swift 1 to 10. We're looking through the Bear Swift at its lowest power of 1 to get our best overall view through the glass. And as I move this around, I'm looking for any fisheye distortion around the outer edges that you get with lower quality LPVOs. And this is actually not bad, especially when I bring the telephone pole there to the right of the scope. That looks straight. But I do note that it looks like it's slightly to the left of where it is in the real world. And when I move this teal car into scope view from the bottom left there, it looks slightly, ever so slightly smaller inside of the scope than it is in the real world, which shouldn't be happening with a true 1 power optic. Now I'm going to lock this off and aim at the top of the hill there, and then let's bring up our magnification and see what this looks like at 5 power, but halfway in its magnification range. And the overall view through this scope is really good in terms of color rendition, accuracy, and sharpness. And it is a breezy day, as you can hear. So there's a lot of particles in the air, so it's not as high contrast as you would on an ideal day. But this is actually pretty good with very little purple fringing visible, really nothing that I can note. And you'll see that usually where there's high contrast areas, like where the tree line meets the sky. Now let's bring this all the way up to its maximum of 10 power. Take a look through this glass, which still looks really good. There's a little bit of softening around the outer edges, so it's not I was talking about. Equally tack sharp from center to the outer edge. But I can still see the trail marker sign at the top of the hill. That's just a little bit to the right and below the center horseshoe. And that is a 3-foot-ish steel sign on top of a pole, which is a good proxy for an IPSC target at this distance. I don't know what happened there when I was editing. The little highlight circle was shifted a little bit to the left, so it's not exactly centered on the trail marker on there. So, but it's still within the circle, the general area. And as I was mentioning, that it's not 100% ripoff of the Vortex Razor reticle there, but it's very close. It has a little bit of a Christmas tree below that horseshoe of death, and it's very similar and functions pretty much the same. Like I said, I like that reticle in general, at least the zoomed in version of that reticle. So yeah, it's not a bad scope. So that is what I posted up on my Moondog channel. And by the way, here's an early sneak peek. I will be giving away that scope next month, so tune in. I'll announce when that scope giveaway is going to occur. But that scope is available to win on this channel. All right, so on my Moondog Reviews channel, where I try to review other gadgets that aren't specifically gun related, which I would usually post up in my 2A channel, I posted up this cool little clamp on. Actually, I have it right here. This little clamp-on device that you can put on to your Pro Hear or Howard Light Impact Sports headphones, and turn it into a walkie-talkie headset, which is kind of cool. It literally snaps in. Here, let's see if I can move this out. And you can snap it in, and you can take it off. It plugs into the auxiliary port, but it literally does snap onto the ear cup of your earmuffs, and it's got FRS, GMRS channels and sub channels here, and your PTT, your push to talk, is this little button underneath the little microphone arm, and you press that, and you're good to go. You can communicate with anybody else who's got a set of FRS, GMRS radios. Here, let me just share with you what that looks like. And you can see how easily it slips on. That is a pair of Howard Light Impact Sports, by the way, right there. So it is totally compatible. The range, we're testing out these headphones and seeing how well we can hear. So I've walked out into the parking lot. This is roughly about 200 yards from the RSO booth. And we're going to see how well we can pick up the sound through the walkie-talkie adapter here on and that's 200 yards away, plus buildings and a fence.
Moondog, are you there?
Go for Moondog.
Moondog, over. Yeah, you're coming in perfect.
So there you go. We tested it there. I also walked a little bit further away. There were some issues with, as it would be often the case with any two radios that aren't of the same make and model. We're playing around with sub-channels, and there's also, you have the option of having a priority channel with this, so that you could set a channel that would that if anybody broadcasts it, it would override, and it does work. It's just I couldn't film it properly because we kind of screwed up which radio we were using at the time. But it has a bunch of other cool features. Unfortunately, as Tim Mooney has posted his question, does it do Bluetooth? Unfortunately, no. And that would be the suggestion I would have to them as well, is if you're going to climb up something on this, give it Bluetooth as well, so that you could communicate directly with your phone and take and receive calls. I think that would be a total winner if they could combine both GMRS, FRS, and Bluetooth phone compatibility. I agree with you there. All right. Now, by the way, this is also going to be in a giveaway next month. So keep an eye out on that for that. If you would like to win one, I'll be giving that away next month. And that's because I have a big giveaway of this Milesy, and I'll be talking about that later on the episode. But the Milesy laser rangefinder, which is a pretty pricey item, so that's the reason why we're giving this plenty of focus this month. But you get a chance to win this Milesy 1 mile laser rangefinder this month. All right. And on my Moondog Go channel, we have, I went down to LA, and I haven't been to Universal Studios in a while, but I grew up in Los Angeles, and I would go there pretty often. I'd even go there for dinner at the City Walk sometimes. But recently we went and experienced the new Super Mario World, which I have to say I was kind of smitten with. I thought I'd be a little bit jaded because I've been to Disneyland and Disney World and Universal and the Universal Orlando. But I've been growing up in LA, I've been primarily going to Disneyland and Universal. So I thought I'd seen it all until we went to Super Mario World, and I was like, wow, they really did a great job. I really felt like I was in a video game version or a real world version of a Super Mario World kind of place. And let me just share a little bit of that with you. So you enter via a warp tube. And let me just pause it here. So this was the experience of actually walking through the first time in the morning, and I've complained about this before. All these amusement parks nowadays have gotten super expensive, especially with Disney. They're just nickel and diming you the entire time. It used to be you can get a fast pass for free, and if the line was too long, you could get a slip and come back to the line later when the line wasn't so long. But now they charge you to get that privilege in Disneyland, and they upcharge you if it's a super busy day. That you have to pay even more. It's little things like that it just disgusts me. And one of the reasons we opted to go to Universal this time is because it is cheaper to get in. It's a smaller park in general. It's one of the things we realized when we got there, that it's not as big as we remember it being. Well, at least when I was younger, or even when I took my daughter when she was a toddler. But it was cheaper, except for they give you the option of you could get early access, and you could do that if you are staying at one of their hotels. The same thing at Disneyland. But they also offered you can get in an hour early than general admission if you pony up an extra $30. So it's already like $120 to get in. Plus, I ponied up an extra $30 per per the family. So that's another $120 between all of us. But my wife said it's going to be worth it because Super Mario World is the big draw there at Universal right now, and the crowds have made it a crowded place. And sometimes in the high summer months, they even restrict it because it just gets too crowded, and they make you wait in line to get in. So that's the reason why I ponied up the extra money to go in an hour early. And begrudgingly, I will admit that it was worth it, because as you're seeing here, this is very few people. There are easily 4 or 5 times as many people by 9:30 when they open up the general gates at 9 o'clock. Yeah, suddenly there was 4 times as many, and by the time we left, there was 5 or 6 times as many people. Typical crowd. So that's just something that we had to deal with. But overall, the experience was very positive, and I posted up a real-time ride-through of the signature ride that's there, which is Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, which is a 4D augmented reality dark ride. So it's kind of like the dark rides are like the rides like Peter Pan, and if you're old enough to remember Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, or now it's Winnie the Pooh. So you're going around the ride in a cart, but they have these VR projector visors that you wear as Mario hats on your head, and you can see a game overlaid onto the environment. And you have a steering wheel and a steering wheel with a fire button on the steering wheel, and you can sort of play Super Mario Kart while you're on the ride. So it's really fun. It was a bit of a challenge to show all of that on camera, because it was designed to fit on your head. So there wasn't enough room to stick the camera between my eyes and the visor. So I actually had to hold the visor, take it off my head, hold it in front of the camera, and try to share the experience. And of course, that also meant that I really couldn't play the game. But that's the sacrifice I have, just to try to give my viewers a little more of the experience. And Portia Speech says Minecraft means Legoland. Yeah, in a way. I always thought Minecraft was Legos, was virtual Legos anyway. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be the next thing. Is I forgot who owns the. Minecraft is owned by Microsoft, I know, but I wonder who's got the license to produce, or will pony up the license to produce a Minecraft land. But this Super Mario Land is really fun. So that is, you saw me going into the entrance of the Super Mario Kart ride. And yeah, it was worth it, because we literally walked from the entrance straight right in. And usually that's an hour-long wait right there just for the Mario Kart. And sometimes, as I'm mentioning, on really heavy days, it could be a wait just to get into Super Mario or Super Nintendo World. So yeah, and it's a fun ride. I'm going to be sharing a slew of videos every week from just Super Nintendo World, as well as some of the other rides over at Universal. So for the next couple of weeks on my Moondog Go channel, you'll be seeing videos from that, along with I'll be posting a video of my trip from earlier this year over to New York at the Apple Store. So after the Apple Store that's going to be posting up later this week, you'll see all the other videos from Universal's Super Nintendo Land. All right. So here's your chance to put in your 2 cents about a video that's going to be coming up. And this one is for the Monstrum Challenger scope that I reviewed. And you may have seen some of the head-to-head videos that I posted up of the Challenger. I compared it against the Razor Strike Eagle. The Vortex Strike Eagle. And it actually, it didn't beat, or it's not as good as a Vortex Strike Eagle. No. But it is less than 3 times the price. It is, I think it's around $200 for this scope, whereas the Strike Eagle is like $799. So yeah, it's a decent scope. It's got Japanese ED glass, turrets track, and it's a great budget scope. Here's your chance to come up with a better headline than this one. This is challenge accepted. It's for the Monstrum Challenger. And if you have an idea as to what would be a better headline for this thumbnail, please post it up on the side chat or post it into the chat later on if you're not here for the live stream live. But there's your opportunity to help with a creative process. All right. Michael Dunn says, Monstrums are great for the price point. Yes, they are indeed. I mean, there's, I've seen some videos of some issues that people have with some of the quality control of the scope or the rings and mounts that they have. But for the price you're paying for it and the fact that they have a lifetime warranty, if you have a problem, send it back to them and they'll send you a replacement. All the times that people have had issues with them, as long as they aren't being total asshats in their responses to them, if they're acting like just regular polite human beings, because then all the return issues that I've seen posted or shared with me have been fairly positive with them. A couple of times people have saying, oh, they refused to accept the return on something, but then when I responded back to them and I asked, like, hey, what do you mean they wouldn't accept it? They never responded. So maybe there was some extraneous detail. I don't know. Bear in mind that they also, like pretty much everybody else, most people who do have a lifetime warranty will not accept it if you intentionally abuse. Like I don't recommend you to buy anything that has a lifetime warranty just to prove that, let me destroy it and see and return it. That kind of thing is generally not covered, but that should be pretty evident to me, but maybe it isn't to some folks. I don't know. Porsche Speedster says, I have a Monstrum scope that is 5 years old on a 300 blackout shooting 1 MOA at 100 yards. That's really good. Is that the G3 or G5 scope? Let me know there, Porsche Speedster. And hey, we have Hillbilly. He's joined us. Very good. Thanks for joining us, Hillbilly. And Tim Mooney says, normal wear and tear. Yes, they will cover normal wear and tear. Accidents. If it's an accident, it's an obvious accident. They will usually cover that as well. Michael Dunn says, I have a few LPVOs and a couple of prisms. Very good. I've never been into prism scopes myself. I know a lot of people like them, but I just find them to be, they are lighter and they are more, and technically they're more durable because there's not as many moving parts in them. But I just haven't really liked the eye box of most prisms that I've ever used. So that's the only reason why I don't use them and I don't really review them. I've turned down a couple of requests to review their prisms just because I'm not a particular fan of using prisms. Michael Dunn does say it's easy for your eyes, and especially if you have astigmatism. I totally understand. I get it, that a lot of people like prisms, and there's a good reason why people like prisms. Porsche Speedster says, it's a tactical FDE. I only need to verify range. It's a 4-20. Yeah, I'm not sure which one that is, but yeah, I agree with you. Their scopes aren't bad. You should definitely check them out for those of you who haven't tried it. And Tim says, he has astigmatism and red dots are blurry. Yeah, that's like the main reason people choose prisms, and absolutely, 100%. And we have Pick. He's joined us too. Very good. All right. So let's move on. I want to give you the next clue in the name the brand contest here. And so this mystery brand, this is a cable channel that covers a wide range of historical periods and topics, including warfare, superstitions. I think I've typoed warfare twice in there. Inventions, technology, science, monsters. This is where they start kind of veering off from history and historical periods. And technology, that they get into monsters, unidentified flying objects, conspiracy theories, aliens, cults, survival, and alternative history. So yeah, they cover quite a wide range of things. So if you happen to know this channel that covers historical topics, put in hashtag and the name of the channel, but you don't have to include the word channel, just the name. All right. And you'll be entered into our giveaway contest today for the ZKT, for a ZKT wipe. All right, so down the rabbit hole today, we're going to be talking about genealogy. It's a study of family history and ancestry, focusing on tracing lineages and compiling and completing family trees. It involves researching and documenting family relationships through various records like birth certificates, census data, and marriage licenses. Well, I should hope everyone has somewhat of an interest, and it's actually, I need to go back and talk to my parents. It's one of the things many of us may not have talked to our parents or grandparents when they were alive about our history, and they've spoken to me about it. They just sort of mentioned these names of their parents and their grandparents, and I kind of remember it, but I didn't really pay as much attention as I really should have when I talked to my grandmother or grandmothers. Or even my mother. I got to sit down and actually work out a family tree and find out who's related to whom. But it is an interesting topic. And, well, we have a guest today who is a little bit of an expert on that. So our guest today is Gizzard Gary, who is our previous guest. And he is a retired IT specialist in the nuclear power industry. And he hails from Kansas and has a number of YouTube channels. By the way, you should all check it out. He has Gizzard Gary Reviews, Boomer Listens, and he hosts the weekly live stream Foul Territory. So I'd like to welcome today my buddy, Gizzard Gary. How are you, Gary?
I'm doing all right. Sorry if I'm late. The email you sent me, I think, had an erroneous time on it.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. It's my fault probably, and estimating the time difference.
Oh, my apologies. Anyway.
No, not at all. You're perfectly fine. So as long as we're right about only 4 minutes past the half hour, so it's perfect.
Okay.
So Gary, a lot of folks who are on the side chat already know you, but for everybody else out there, could you give a little bit more of a background than my introduction? You've worked in the nuclear power industry, and
yeah.
How did you get to where you're at, and also how did you get into genealogy?
Well, I worked in the nuclear power industry for over 40 years, retired at age 62, so it's been about 3 years since I retired. I've been doing YouTube since 2017. The fall of 2017 is when I started. So as far as genealogy goes, I actually started that at age 40, which had been right around the year 2000. That'll tell you how old I am right there. So I had a little bit of interest. I'd always went to family reunions and heard people talk about how this ancestor is related to this person. I didn't have all that information, and at that age I started getting curious, and so I started an account on Ancestry.com. I went to my local genealogy library, which they have one in our county museum, and it had a bunch of old newspaper articles like obituaries and stuff like that, which are really helpful in doing research. And I started putting together a family tree, which has thousands of entries in it now.
Thousands? Wow.
Thousands, yes. Thousands. It's a rabbit hole. Once you start going down, I want to warn you, you'll find out all kinds of stuff. You've got this grandfather, great grandfather, and then all their descendants, if you want to put all that stuff together. and find out who all you're related to. So it's quite the quest. And then I have helped others, friends and stuff like that, in their research. Also, I'm not a professional genealogist, so of course I don't charge money for doing that sort of thing. But it interests me. Last year, I joined our county genealogical society just because there's a bunch of people in our county that have similar interest and stuff like that. So I'm
Now,
finding
now,
people who like to do this sort of thing with me. It's fun.
now, did you find out? And that's sort of, if you join a genealogy club or organization, do you find out that you're related to each other?
Or people that you do in your life. It's like I never knew you two were related and stuff like that. And yeah, you find out all kinds of stuff. So it's very interesting. And we talk about how we do research and we pass on tips and stuff like that. And we're trying to educate others in our community. If you need help doing research, come to us. We'll get you started. And they have all kinds of resources right in my little town. We have the city library. It has computers that have an ancestry.com account that you can use for free to do research there and stuff like that. You can come to the museum anytime and use their genealogical library. It's free. So there's a chance wherever you live, there's probably people who can help you.
That's great.
Hmm.
Now, what are some of the tools they use? My son and my daughter both had a family tree assignment in elementary school, and I helped them with that. The old physical style of creating tree, taking photos, finding photos, and pasting them down. But especially with folks who have fairly large families, they're just mentioning thousands. Of course, that is impractical, or even just drawing them up because you're going to have to start pasting up extra panels, right? So, what do you
Right.
use in terms of keeping track of these things?
What do I use Ancestry.com. Now, you can sign in to Ancestry.com and create an account for free. However, you're going to be limited. It's going to come up with what it will do is once you enter your information, like it'll ask date of birth, parents' names, date of birth, where were they born, and stuff like that. And it will start throwing up hints, which are basically things that it gets from, let's say, censuses over the years that are possible matches. Also, research that other families have done that are sharing their data. And it will suggest those, here's some data you didn't know. It'll suggest, parents, grandparents, and stuff like that. But to get that information and to add it to your tree will require a paid account most of the time. Uh, Another thing I use in conjunction with it, and it's actually owned by Ancestry.com now, is a website called newspapers.com,
Hmm.
which is actually the world's largest archive of old newspapers and
Oh, so
stuff like
they
that.
scan in like old
Yes.
microfilm and microfiche.
Yes. With a paid account there, you can access uh, years and years worth of old newspapers from all over the country and all over the world, which, as a genealogist, those are great tools to actually look at someone's obituary. Who does it list as their relatives at that time? Oh, I didn't know that. All kinds of stuff. Marriages are documented, births are usually documented, and stuff like that. So you can get all kinds of information from there. And finally, one I'd like to mention, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years, is a website called findagrave.com. And findagrave.com is basically a repository of memorials from cemeteries all over the world.
Hmm.
And what we do is I'm a volunteer on that site. So we go to cemeteries and photograph the headstones and add the data from the headstones. And then that all gets entered in a database. So if someone is trying to find a long lost relative and they know they were buried, say, in my county, they could put out a request for me to go take a picture of that if it's not already in the database. And so that's what we do. I've been a volunteer, and I've also asked for volunteers to do work for me for a relative that was, say, buried in North Carolina. I had somebody go find the grave and get a copy of the headstone. If you got a copy of the headstone, you've got documentation.
Oh,
It's
sure.
more stuff to back up your research and stuff like that. Plus, for a lot of people, it's an emotional connection. I've had people thank me for connecting them with their long lost ancestor and stuff like that from just simply going out to a local cemetery, taking a picture, and posting it on Find a Grave. So it's another tool I use. So a lot of different tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, that's really excellent. Now, well, how does that work for folks? And I'm going to post up a comment from Piggy here. It says he tracked his ancestry to the UK and Germany. The UK side is tough to figure out, but traced the German side way back. Now, how does it work for a lot of us? Well, really, practically all Americans emigrated from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how many generations back that goes, but how connected are U.S. genealogy groups to those in other countries?
Well, of course, you've got immigration records. All that stuff is on Ancestry. So when they come through Ellis Island, it's going to be documented there. The ships that came into Ellis Island, their manifest will list all the people who are on the ships. And a lot of times you could get to that and figure out what ship they came on and stuff like that. Now, as far as the international, there is international data on Ancestry.com. It is an additional subscription to have what they call a World Explorer membership, which I have. But with that, yeah, you can basically connect with people from all over the world and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's cool.
Because my ancestors, my great grandfather and two brothers immigrated from what would have been known then as Alsace-Lorraine, which is a province in France that was right on the border with Germany. So they were considered French citizens but spoke German. And they came over in about 1872, I believe. So, yeah, to do a lot of my family research, I have had to go back to the old French-German records and stuff like that. And a lot of interesting stuff there.
Yeah, great wine from that region. And
yeah,
I think there is a joke about the Alsatians is that they're the French that the Germans didn't want, or vice versa. Right. They usually told that way.
Right. See, I always grew up thinking we were, I had German ancestry. Well, it's kind of on the borderline.
Yeah,
totally. The two countries fought over that area for years and years and years. So
the reality is both sides wanted it, or else they wouldn't be fighting so much for it. Have you ever had a chance to go visit any of these places? Because a lot of people do, especially I have Irish friends, and they really want to, connect back to their roots. And
I had a chance to visit Europe. I believe it was in 1996, and spent a week in England, primarily in the London area, and then we went up and we took the ferry over to Calais, France. And spent a couple nights in Amsterdam. And then we moved on from there to Cologne, Germany, which is, my dad fought really near Cologne during World War II. So I took a cruise down the Rhine, a little river cruise, day cruise, and saw some things that I came back and brought back to him, and he remembered seeing the same thing. So that was great fun. And then, see, the last night or two we spent in Bruges, Belgium. Very beautiful little city if you ever get a chance. So, yes, I did get to see the old country. Loved it. Would love to go back. If you ever get a chance, go.
It's a wonderful experience, and it's a good excuse to trace your roots for no other reason.
Yeah.
So that's a good vacation. Now, how many folks are in your group for the genealogy group?
In the Genealogical Society, how many are actually members? Let's see, there's 30 some members.
But active members.
Active members, dozen or so probably that actually attend meetings every month. Yeah.
That's cool. And how long have they been in it? Now you've been in it. Now you've been. How long have you been part of the society? I know
Since
you've been.
last fall.
Okay.
I wasn't. I was kind of aware of it, but I didn't know they were active. I saw an old buddy of mine that I used to work with was, I guess he's in charge of it now. He was posting links to it. And so I sent him a message like, how does one go about joining this? He said, just show up for one of the meetings and you're part of it. You don't pay anything. You don't got to pass any test or anything. And I got to thinking, this is right up my alley. I belong with these people. So I joined, and yeah, it's just been everything I thought it might be. So
Now,
if
when
you,
you also are volunteering to with the graveyard group, was that
oh, yeah.
through? I know we're both members of the Knights of Columbus. Was that through that or?
No, that was something I ran across during my initial research, and back then it was kind of small. In fact, one of my local cemeteries, and I'm Catholic, much like you,
Mhm.
and there is a Catholic cemetery west of town where most of my family is buried and stuff like that. And when I looked on Find a Grave, there were very few of those that were indexed at the time. This
Hmm.
was 6, 7 years ago.
Is
I
it just
spent
because they kept all their records on flashcards? I mean, on note cards or something?
I guess back in those days, nobody had covered it. I spent a whole day out there photographing every grave in that cemetery. Now, there's some 500 graves in that cemetery.
Hmm.
So, took all those pictures, and then I spent a week or better coming home with the pictures, indexing all those. And basically, now they're on Find a Grave, there is pretty much a 99% complete index of every person who's ever been buried in that cemetery, along with their information. And then there is a way within Find a Grave you can identify who these people's parents are. If their grave is somewhere on Find a Grave, you can tie it together. So it kind of links everything together. So it's really neat, but it's constant research. And believe it or not, when you do
Hmm.
research for old stuff like this, you're going to find that there are people that were buried in that cemetery that no longer have headstones, and no one knows exactly where they were buried, but they're buried there
They're somewhere
somewhere.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of that, and people, wanting pictures of it. Well, the only thing I could take a picture of is, a plot of grass where the grave is. But, from years and years, a lot of times the gravestones they put up weren't high quality, or maybe the family couldn't afford a gravestone, or sadly, they got vandalized.
Oh, I was going to ask you what caused that, but those are very valid reasons.
It
And I
happened.
and if you haven't had to deal with the burial of a family member, a lot of folks don't realize that. Yeah, there's reasons why they'll choose one type of stone over another just for durability's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, back in the old days, if you look at old graves, and really this county wasn't settled until the 1860s, so there's not anything real old here. But a lot of times the headstones were only about maybe an inch and a half thick, stone and stuff like that, maybe about a foot and a half, 2 foot tall, small. And over the years, they deteriorate. A lot
Just
of times,
from weather.
yeah, a lot of times if you can find them, you can't even read them because they're eroded to that point, or they get broken off over the years, either vandals or accidents from mowing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Any
mowing
number
mowing
of
the grass.
things. Yeah.
Now, and I got to wonder because I've been to some of the ghost towns in the Southwest, and you got gravestones. I mean, grave markers that were wood.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's not going to last very long. So, but
What's sad is when you go to a grave. I mean, there's even some fairly recent ones that just have the metal marker from the funeral home, that they initially put out there. And for one reason or another, either they didn't have any family members that were interested in buying them a stone, or couldn't afford it. They're costly.
yeah,
Uh, and, from having to bury my own parents, I know how much headstones cost. They're not cheap. So a lot of times families can't afford it. And those little temporary markers, they get bent they fade in time and stuff. So it's sad. I wish everybody had a memorial, but I think the reason we do find a grave, and I've have it in my bio on my find a grave profile, I say everybody deserves to be remembered.
That's a
I
good sentiment.
I hate to think, that 150 years from now, is anybody even going to remember who we were related to, what we did? This is kind of a way for everybody to know, as long as this stuff gets preserved for future generations and stuff like that. Because going back and finding old relatives in a way brings them back to life, in my opinion. It lets you
Yeah.
know where you came from. You can kind of visualize, and I'm a history buff too, so I can just realize what this town was like 150 years ago. And all these people in the cemeteries were us.
Yeah.
They lived in this
Absolutely.
town. They worked the jobs. They lived the lives and stuff. So they're not just people buried in a graveyard. These people had a past. They had
They had
lives,
lives. Yeah.
and it mattered. So
And what they did led up to you. So there's a
100%.
yeah. You may not, yeah. What they did mattered because you're there.
Yeah.
Now, we're getting towards the end of the hour, but before we leave the subject, what's your best advice for folks who want to get into it? What are the best steps so that they'll get some fruitful progress?
Well, if you are computer savvy and don't mind investing a little bit of money in your research, sign up at ancestry.com and start a tree there. And if you need help, reach out in your area, find out if your county has a genealogical society or anyone who can help you get in the right direction. Of course, I'm always, and I've told people on YouTube, if you need help, shoot me an email, I'll help you. And I am helping several people out here. Of course, I can't take everybody on out here and stuff like that, but I'm willing to help people get started and stuff like that. Like to tell you, if you got time for a quick story,
Yeah.
when I was at work, I did the ancestry DNA and the 23andMe
Mm-hmm.
several years ago. And one day I got an email saying, this person was a match, and I recognized the name as one of my coworkers.
Oh,
And I had no idea I was related to this
okay.
person. So I ran into her at work and I said, Janelle, it says we're related. How are we related? And she says, I have no idea. She said, I have no idea who my father was, and my mom died when I was like 3, and I was raised by my grandparents.
Wow.
So I said, would you like me to help? I said, I will help you. Give me the information you have. She said, well, I don't have a lot. I know my mother's name and, my grandparents. So she gave me the names and I put everything together for her. And it took me 3 weeks, but I was able to not only figure out how she was related to me, I was actually able to find out who her father was and put her in
Wow.
touch with her father's family on Facebook. So she now has that connection and stuff like that. So it can get you places you never knew it would get you.
And that's a great story. I think all of us should look into it. And one of the best advice I could give you, and or give everybody out there, and I will, and I'm going to, you can take this as a promise from me. I'm gonna follow my own advice. Go talk to your family. If you haven't talked, you meet it. And I'm talking if you don't have a good relationship. Even if you have a good relationship with your family, you probably haven't sit down and just, hey, could you name all of your grandparents that you remember and all of their kids and aunts and uncles? You kind of know them. Oh, that's Uncle Phil. But what's your Uncle Phil's middle name? You probably don't know. What's his date of birth? Get all that information from your family while they're still around. While you have an opportunity, it's a great opportunity, especially if you have a good relationship with your family, to strengthen that relationship. So reach out to them. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to promise everybody out there, I'm going to go reach out to my mother and my father and get started looking at that. So it's great talking to Gary about this, because it really lit a fire under me to get this done.
Good.
All right, Gary. We've got some giveaways I'd love your help on.
Okay.
And let me see. Kanaidon said his mother is in a group called Totem Tracers. She catalogs graveyards up here in Alaska.
Oh, neat.
That is cool. Now, I got to ask Kanaidon, is it the same like in the Southwest where a lot of graves are wood? And if so, definitely you need some folks to record those. All right, so let's get these contests started here. And here's your final clue to everybody here. This cable channel is owned by A&E, and while it started off showing history documentaries, it's most well known for programs that have little or no connection to history, like Pawn Stars and Ice Road Truckers. So if you know this channel, this cable channel, put in hashtag and its name, and you don't have to include blank channel. It just the name, just the one word that denotes a cable channel that has to do with history. So hopefully you guys know the answer to this mystery brand and type it in now, because we're going to be drawing the winner to get one of these ZKT wipes as a prize. So we're giving away 3 of these ZKT wipes. And also, as a bonus, the first winner, as I showed you that the video from Super Mario World. Well, I have here a special tactical knife from Super Mario World that I will include. Yes, this is from Toadstool Cafe, and it is one of their knives. I don't know what type of steel this is. Perhaps Gary, who is my resident blade expert, might know which grade of steel this happens to be. But it is finely etched with a Toadstool Cafe logo. So I will include this along with the ZKT wipe. So let's get into that giveaway here. Let's see. I'm going to present the share screen for the giveaway. And I'm sorry, Gary just pointed out to me, he was hoping to share some links to you, but he can't add them on there. So, and trying to figure out how to do that, but I'll have to do that for next time. All right. So Gary,
Yes.
Give me a countdown and I will hit the draw button.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And go.
All right, and who is it going to be? Tim Mooney. Congratulations. You get the wipe and the Super Mario World tactical knife. So, but we have 2 other winners. So, we'll draw again. Let me know, Gary.
3, 2, 1, go.
And this one is going to Hillbilly. Okay. Congratulations, Hillbilly. And the final winner. Let me know when to hit the draw button.
Okay, once again, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Porsche Speedster. Congratulations. All right. So all of you guys hit me up, send me an email. I'm going to post up my email here on the side chat, but send it over to moondogairsoft@gmail.com. Include in the subject line the winning answer, which is the History Channel. Just put in hashtag history in the subject line so I can easily spot it in my mail bin. And put in your mailing address, and I will send you your prizes for these. And also, I just wanted to plug. Next week, I will be in I will be in northeastern Pennsylvania near the Scranton region to host Operation Bad Blood, which is the largest charity airsoft game in the Northeast. And it will benefit the Breakthrough T1D, which is a diabetes research foundation, formerly the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund. And half of the proceeds will be donated directly to the charity. And we have our friend Mark Thomas he'll be commanding one of the 3 warring factions that are taking part in this event. You can purchase your tickets at evic.com. That's the only place you can purchase it. I'm going to put the link to evic.com right now on the side chat. So you can get your tickets there. The tickets are very affordable. They are $50 for really a 3-day airsoft event. So it's just a lot of fun. And let's see. I also wanted to let everybody know that I am giving away this $300 laser rangefinder this month. So all you have to do to enter the contest is subscribe to my Moondog Go channel, which is my travel channel. And you can get a chance to win this Milesy IonJet laser rangefinder, and just upload a screenshot of your subscribe button to Moondog Go to my website. And I've included a link to that website, to the actual page. You could also go to moondogindustries.com at any time, moondogindustries.com/contest. That'll bring up the current contest that I have at any given time. But this is a link to the direct contest page for this laser rangefinder. So you get a chance to win if you enter before the end of the month. And finally, I just want to let you know that we will not have a live TMI Live next week. It's actually going to be a pre-record, but it's going to be a special follow-up to a giveaway that I gave at the end of last month, which was tickets to go to this Hollywood awards show for movie previews, movie trailers. And the winner gave the tickets that he won on TMI Live to his daughter, who's going to she's at UCLA, and she took her friends to this big Hollywood award show, and she's gonna share her experiences and photos from the event. And I see Gary. Yep, I see your comments posted on there.
I was trying from one of your other channels. I didn't know on one of your other channels whether I had mod rights or not. So.
Oh, no worries. All right, Gary, is there anything that's coming up for you that you'd like to plug or promote?
If there are any of my channel members on here, later on tonight will be my members only stream. That is at
cool
8:30 p.m. Central, and I always give away one of the knives that I've reviewed in the past. So each and every week. So we got that. I've also got 2 new flashlights in from Wuben, WBEN, and I'm going to be doing reviews on those, plus a knife from CJRB. Those come in the mail this week, so I've got some new reviews to do. And every Monday night is the open live stream on my channel, Foul Territory. That is at 9 p.m. Central. So that's what I got going on. Plus Boomer listens if you're into music. So.
Excellent. So everybody tune in. Are you able to post up links to your channels? I'm going to see if I can post up some of the links that I have, or at least to your main website, and they can get to your other channels links through that, I'm sure, right?
You should be. If you go to my main channel, there's a link to my other channels in there. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm posting it up in all of the channels there. So definitely check out Gary's stuff. He has great content. Love his reactions to all the music that these kids nowadays are listening to. And
I'm learning a lot.
Awesome.
I'm learning a lot. Yes.
And I still owe you some links to some K-pop that my daughter listens to. And my wife listens to now too.
I've done a couple reviews this week on some metal music from Japan.
Oh, Baby Metal?
Baby Metal is one of them, and Bandmate is the one I did today. So.
Oh, I got to check that out.
And I'm getting enormous response to those. So evidently there's an awful lot of people who like that stuff out there. And I liked it too. Just, spoiler alert.
It is very theatrical. I'd heard that they were in town earlier this year, and I totally missed Baby Metal. Like, I've never seen them live. I think they would be a huge...
I think that'd be worth going to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, Gary, for joining us. And it's such a great topic, one that is close to my heart. Learning about your family. And if you are interested in learning more about it, reach out to Gary about and sign up for a free account on Ancestry.com. We should be sponsored by them, shouldn't we?
You should.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check in next week for TMI, even though it's not going to be live. But check out the show. And if you liked the show, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe buttons. All right, everybody. Have a good week. God bless. Moondog.
Bye.
Out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.